Well, howdy. It's good to see you. Welcome back. I have to say I'm feeling pretty darn proud of myself. I think I mentioned before we went to Mackinac and I biked the perimeter of the island. That's 8.2 miles. A couple of years ago, before this whole knee trauma stuff began, I tried biking around the lake by where I live, and I could barely make it around, not just because of the leg, but I was just out of shape. 5 miles was too much for me to tackle. But I biked the entire perimeter, all 8.2 miles. I even bought a sticker that said that. And then, after watching photographers on YouTube for years take these landscapes with an incredible dynamic range and ability to get both the highlights looking good and the shadows looking good, I decided to get over my fear and to try an exposure blend. I learned I have a lot to learn. Let me show you what it looks like. We biked the perimeter of the island, and I stopped several times for photographs. It is wonderful that there's no cars. I didn't realize this, but the path, which is called Lakeshore Boulevard, is Michigan's only state highway that is automobile free. I didn't realize it's technically a state highway, but that little path that goes around the perimeter, state highway. Okay, so while I'm stopping, it is a brilliantly sunny day, and I'm trying to take some beautiful shoreline landscapes. And along the shore, there's some places where there's these gorgeous rocks. And what I was finding was whenever I would focus and set my exposure so that the highlights, the sky wasn't blown out, then the rocks up close to me were really dark. And whenever I tried to make it so I could see the rocks and lift those shadows, the sky was blown out. So I kept going back and forth, and I thought, all right, I'm going to try one of those exposure blends like they say on all the fancy photography stations. You have to do it on a tripod, and you set up your shot, you set up your composition, you get all that stuff ready, and then you take the shot once with your f-stop and your speed, etc., set so that your sky will look beautiful. And don't worry about the fact that the front of it looks way too dark. And the second one you take so that the rocks are beautiful, but the sky is too light. And then in Lightroom, you take the two photos and you merge them into an HDR, and it combines the two photos. It's like magic, really. You can do it in Photoshop, and my understanding is Photoshop does a lot better job, but again, I'm a beginner and Photoshop still intimidates the heck out of me. Let me just show you. I have two shots here. I took them on a tripod, and obviously the one on the left is exposed with the f-stop set so that the rocks are lit up and I can see more of the detail in the rocks. And then the second one, the one on the right, I have exposed so I can see the color and the detail in the water and a little bit of the sky. You select them both in Lightroom, and then you right click, you go to Photo Merge and hit HDR, and it's going to create this HDR preview. Now, I have auto align on. I know there's issues about whether you use this or not, and the auto settings. I'm a beginner. I use as many things auto as I can unless it really looks awful. I have the auto settings also selected. Then I just click merge. It's going to create a DNG. So now you have this image that has all of the details of the bright sky and the lit up rocks. Then you go over to the develop mode in Lightroom and you do all the things you'd usually do. You can do the global changes, which means that you're adjusting these sliders and it's affecting the entire shot, or you can use these little filters up here. I'm just starting to learn how to use those, but it's kind of nice because you can kind of angle it to match your shot. So then you play with your exposure and it gives you some of these abilities to just kind of change the way that the sky looks and the water looks a little bit. So that's what the radial filter, the different kinds of filters are. The radial filters, literally you make just a circle. So you click on a new radial filter, you make like a little oval let's say you wanted to work on this colored water right along the edge here, and you can sort of angle it. Now remember to click invert. Let me show you why. So if you put your mouse right over that, see that red tone? The red tone is what you're adjusting with this radial circle filter. If you don't hit invert, then it's everything on the outside. And the farther you are away from the circle, the more effect, whatever you hit, the more effect it will do. So if you're doing exposure and you don't have invert on, then obviously outside the circle is going to have more changes. You can go right into there and play with your dehaze or your clarity, your whites, etc., and just make some subtle changes inside those circles, inside the filters. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but this was my finished product. And you know, that's not so bad. I cropped it in a little bit, and I did all my usual editing. I tried to bring out a little bit of the oranges and the greens and detail in the rocks down here just because I thought it was interesting. And then I tried to have it follow, your eyes follow it up. And that's why these trees are a little bit more lit. It was hard to get the sky to look just right, but it did okay. That's all I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you thought this was helpful, give me a thumbs up. In the meantime, enjoy your adventure. Peace.